So number one is more of the mindset and really be like your conviction of why to do that. Number two is where to start. And we're talking about profit. That's where I start. I ask myself the question, or I ask the business owner the question, or that's the questions they should ask themselves, is what area of the company, if it had well-documented processes and procedures, will get you the biggest return on investment. That is where you should start.
Hey, it's the Profit Answer Man, Rocky Lalvani. If you're new to the podcast, check out my interview with Mike Michalowicz. It's episode number 2. If you want to hear about each chapter in the Profit First book, go back and listen to episodes 3 through 13. Episode 1 is the why and how. On the Profit Answer Man, we learn money mastery without all the complicated accounting mumbo-jumbo using a simple system. Your accountant is busy documenting your transactions and creating a rearview mirror of what happened. My guess is you don't even look at the reports they sent you. If you're like most business owners, you struggle with this, and it's not your fault. We aren't taught money in school, and accountants aren't taught how to be profitable. The Profit First system created by Mike Michalowicz works, and he certified me to help you implement the system in your business. Remember, the new equation is sales minus profit equals expenses. Let's face it, without cash flow, you can't pay your employees, buy needed materials, or pay your mortgage and support your family. I help you to do that and more, so you can focus on the parts of the business you love and receive the rewards for your labor and investment into your business. The stronger you are as a business owner, the more jobs you create, the better we are as a country. Small business owners are the backbone of America, and for that, you deserve to be well rewarded. Just remember, more revenue does not equal more profit. That's why we focus on the bottom line. If you didn't already know it, I love systems. You know why? They make my life 100 times easier. This entire podcast, systematized. I record and Marge takes over, gets it all done. I just approve and we are on our way. I do that with a lot of other parts of my business as well. Makes things go quickly. It also eliminates a ton of communication. I can see a dashboard and know exactly where everything's going. I know what I need to do next. He knows what he needs to do next. It's beautiful. We even have systems in our house for groceries. We have systems for replacing the toilet paper in the master bath. I can assure you that is the only bathroom that never runs out of toilet paper because I put a system in. It's really that simple. That's our topic today, and we're going to talk about how to do it in your business. Adi Klevit is the leader and visionary of Business Success Consulting Group. She has 25 years of knowledge and experience as a trained industrial engineer, management consultant, and business executive, giving her a unique understanding of the challenges businesses face. She uses her understanding of the challenges and practical know-how and wisdom to successfully help organizations and companies of any size dramatically improve their efficiency and performance. She can help virtually any business. Let's meet her and see how she does it. Welcome to the Profit Answer Man, Adi Klevit. It's great to have you join us today.
Thank you, Rocky. It's great to be here.
Can you share a little bit about yourself and your business?
Absolutely. So we create, document, optimize, and implement processes and procedures for businesses. That's what we do. I am an industrial engineer. I'm all into bringing order and organization into businesses, and I've been doing it for over 30 years.
When you said that, I'm thinking of how business owners react to that, and they don't like, they seem to like chaos and craziness, and you're bringing order, but yet I know they struggle with putting the time and effort into doing it correctly and building it. Do you find that a lot of people are resistant to doing this kind of work?
Oh yeah. I mean, that's how I started my business. So I had different things I did throughout my career. I worked for international consulting companies. I had 2 companies. And then in 2011, I decided that I'm going to start a consulting company. I'm a very good strategist. I can help business owners to see the correct strategy and help them implement it. And I would tell my clients, part of it, you need processes. Let's say you want to sell your business. You need processes. So the person who is buying your business can see what the processes are. You want to scale. You want to open another location. Great. You need processes. Right? There are different reasons why businesses need processes. And I would tell it to them, to your point, week after week after week. And they will go, yeah, we know we need it, but we don't have the time. We don't have the expertise. We're going to get to it sometime. Different excuses. So then I asked them, well, how about if I do it for you? Really? You can do it for us? Sure, because we're not getting to it. I said, yeah. And then I start documenting their processes. First client. And they were like relieved and so happy. And then I realized there is a niche there. That's how I stumbled across it. That's why I realized that business owners, they went to business entrepreneurs because they want freedom. They want the freedom to create. They want to create on their business. But what ends up happening is they're getting the opposite of freedom because they become slaves to their business. And you know that. You've been on my podcast. We discussed that. It's absolutely what happens. And what we're doing, you and I and other trusted advisors from different angles, is provide the business owners with that freedom by putting the correct systems. If you're putting the correct financial system using Profit First, you're putting the right system that will allow them not to be a slave financially. We're putting the systems, the training material, the processes, giving them the peace of mind that maybe if their key employee leaves tomorrow, the knowledge is still retained. Or we give them the peace of mind that they are doing everything consistent, whatever it is. So to answer your question, yes, I did notice that. And that's how I actually started a business, because once I started doing it, there was more and more demand for it. And that's how we grew as a team. Then I added consultants and technical writers, and we are perfecting the way that we create those processes and procedures. But it is something that is very needed. And business owners do like the order. I mean, nobody likes confusion. They maybe generate confusion and they feel like they have to continue to generate that confusion. But really, if you ask them, if they're sane and they want to grow, they know that in order to do that, it has to be organized. So that is why we're doing it. It's a done for you service.
And I think that's what a lot of business owners struggle with, is getting the information out of their head and down on paper and systems so that people aren't bugging them 100 times a day trying to figure out how to do it. And that's what franchises have done. They've taken their business model, they put it down into systems, and they've done it. What I've come to learn, it's the same for finance, it's the same for this. I'm a systems guy, so I get it. Very few people have the ability to build the system. And too often business owners tell their people to build systems. Their people are not systems builders. Their people are systems operators.
Correct.
And if you don't have a system built for your operators just create chaos within your business.
That's exactly right.
And so it's a different skill set. And I don't think people realize how different of a skill set it is. And that's why I think they struggle so much.
I agree.
So before we dig into this, we always like to chat about Profit First. Not only are you Profit First, you use Relay. We just did a webinar for Relay a couple of weeks ago on how to turn your business into a money-making machine, right? Systematize the money part of it, which is what we do. How has that worked out for you?
It's fantastic. It really gets you out of the idea that, let's use an analogy, okay? You can have like a lake, and every drop in the lake is the same as every other drop. And that's what I've seen people do with their money. They feel like every dollar that is in their bank account is equal to every other dollar, but it's really not. Because some of the dollar amount, it's yours, the compensation as the business owner. Some of it is for taxes. Some of it is for this. Some of it is for that. So when you use a system like Profit First, and also a means of using it, which will relay bank, which I really like. You can set all those bank accounts. You can set automatically that a certain percentage will go to your owner's comp account, which I do, and I love it. You can have a certain percent goes to the taxes. You can have your operating business account. You can have your income account. You can have the different accounts, and it just creates so much, it brings so much order into your business and into your finances. That is tremendous. So I'm a big advocate, big fan of it.
You've got a system and a process for money. How surprising.
Yes, that's what it is. Absolutely.
And I think that's where people don't realize that every part of the business should have a system and a process.
Correct.
So this is where I think business owners struggle. They know they need this. They don't know where to begin. Sometimes they can afford people. Sometimes they can't. How do they start? And where do they start when it comes to doing this? Because most of them will say, I don't have the time. And the reality is kind of like we just talked about, most business owners aren't systems builders.
True. That is very true. And I ask, when I sign up a client, when I talk to a new client, prospective client, I ask them, why are you not doing it yourself? And they said, there are two common answers. And it's also on my website, because those are the answers. I don't know how. I don't have the time. So if that's the case, then definitely seek a professional. But I will tell our listeners what to do, where to start. So when to start, how to start. The first thing, it starts with your mindset. You have to decide that this is important enough. And when we start a project, I always ask that question is, why do you want processes in place? Yes, you read it. Maybe you read it in the traction book. You read it. You went to business school. You read business books, whatever it is. Yes, I know I need processes, but that's not enough. You have to have your own conviction. You have to know for yourself what is your why. Just saying that you need processes is not going to help you overcome the obstacles and the barriers to get this done. So really find out for yourself, why do you want processes? What would it do for your business? So for instance, maybe you right now have a problem onboarding, and you know that if you had the processes written, you will be able to delegate and onboard in a shorter amount of time. Maybe you are lacking consistency. Each customer is getting a different experience, and you want consistent experience across the board. Great. Let's document. Maybe you want to exit. You gave the example of a franchise. Great. Make your business into a franchise. You need to document. So whatever the reason is, find your why. And it has to be a very strong one that will drive you through to the end of this project. So that's the first thing.
Hang on. Before you go on to number two, I think a big one for most business owners that they don't realize is if you want to sell your business, if you've got a documented process manual that you can turn over that says, I, the business owner, don't need to be involved, it's all documented and processed, and show how people use that, the value of your business grows up exponentially.
Absolutely. And I have successes on my website of business owners that actually sold their business for a multiplier they didn't even expect because they had well-documented processes and procedures.
All right. Now to number two.
So number one is more of the mindset and really be like your conviction of why to do that. Number two is where to start. And we're talking about profit. That's where I start. I ask myself the question, or I ask the business owner the question, or that's the questions they should ask themselves, is what area of the company, if it had well-documented processes and procedures, will get you the biggest return on investment? That is where you should start. So let's say right now, your accounts receivables is not in order. You don't have the processes documented and you can't collect on time. Well, that is a place where I would start. Create your accounts receivables process so you can actually collect every single time, or tell your people to collect every single time. Allow them to have the tools on how to collect every single time and make the profit that way. It might be that you are working 80 hours a week and you're working in the business and you don't have time to strategize. You don't have time to create on the business, and the business for that reason, it suffers. Great. This is the point we should start. What is it that you are doing that you can delegate, make a list, and start creating the processes? So that's where you start, is whatever will get you the low-hanging fruit, the biggest return on investment right away, that is where you start.
And to me, that's the 80-20 rule, right? Where's the 20% that results in the 80% result? And if somebody's working 80 hours a week, that tells me that they probably need systems and processes.
Well, it tells that they're wearing too many hats and are not delegating, and they need to create the systems and processes to delegate. I mean, that can be one. And you're right, it might be something that is being done not in an efficient manner. I mean, it has to be done. I mean, you have to look at what those 80 hours consist of, right? It might be consisting of an entrepreneur wearing too many hats, which is the most common thing. They're very capable. They can do things very fast, but they're taking on too much and not delegating, which creates that bottleneck and creates a problem.
Or they're repeating themselves 100 times for the same thing.
True.
That's where a process. If you're repeating yourself constantly, that needs a process.
Exactly. You got it.
What's next?
So that is where I would start. And then you start on the documentation process. And if you're doing it yourself, what I would suggest is either you write down the major steps or you record yourself with best advice on what you're doing, how you're doing it, show how you do it, but also add what are the best practices. What do you recommend that the person that will listen to this video will do? Don't just go through your steps, but also recommend the best practices. Include the why. Why are you doing it? Because if you don't do that, those practices can get lost because somebody can listen to it and they think, oh, well, that step is not important. I'm just going to drop it. But maybe that was like the most important step. You're doing it because your biggest customer always wants you to do it, but you didn't mention it. So it looked insignificant, but it is significant. So definitely include the why. I also recommend using a process documentation platform. So everything is being kept in one place and there is one single source of truth. So that's very important. Keep it simple, keep it to the point. Don't make it overcomplicated. And don't start recording videos that are like an hour and a half long. That's not going to work. You have to make sure that you think about how the person is going to receive the information and you document it. Once it's documented, you got to roll it out. You got to make sure that the processes and procedures are being followed by all. That you don't just keep the knowledge, not just in your head, but now it's not in your head. You actually put it out there. Good. So everyone should read the procedures, understand what's written there, and then start utilizing it. So that's where the followed by all starts.
And so a couple of things, because I know Mike talks about this in his book, Clockwork, as well. Some of our listeners may have read that. Short videos. Please don't make an hour and a half video, right? I think the key is each step needs its own video. And the reason why is because if somebody gets stuck at a step, they don't have to go searching in an hour and a half video. They can go, oh, I'm stuck at this step. Let me go watch the video on how that step is done.
Correct.
Second reason we do it that way is if something changes in a step, we don't have to make a new hour and a half video. We just change the step video, which it might be 30 seconds. It might be 2-3 minutes. What's the longest like that step video should really be? Do you have a kind of upper end?
It really depends on the step and what we are doing there. We only like to use videos when it's necessary, when you really want to listen. We tend not to use videos for demonstration of software or demonstration of steps that are repeatable because we want to do instructions so you can actually scan to the instructions and follow it. It's easier that. But when we record videos, when it's a little bit more complex and it's easier to explain by showing as opposed to describing, and I would say between 20 seconds to an hour to a minute and a half.
So short. I'll be honest, when it comes to software, I prefer videos. You know why? Because they say, oh, go click on this tab. And then I spend 5 minutes looking for the freaking tab. Whereas if I have a video, if I can see the mouse, oh, that's where I click and I go to my screen and I click and it makes it easier for me.
Sure. And we use all kind of techniques. I mean, we will always, whenever we have screenshot, it will always be there will be a red box that it will indicate where to click for that exact reason. Now, that's a good point, Rocky, but that if you record videos, don't say click on this tab because sometimes, you look at the video and you can't really see it. You know how it is because there are many tabs, and name the tab, because I see people say, well, I click here and I click there. I go like, no, tell me where is here and where is there, because you have to make sure that it's actually very clearly on the video so you can hear it. So I'm with you. I mean, the first time that I look at the software, like when I look at how to do something, I would search it in YouTube and I would want to see the video because that's the first thing I would like to see. But then if I forgot, let's say a week later, how to do it, and I just want a reminder, then I'm looking for the instructions because I know everything else except that particular point. So that's why I think a combination, that's why we always have the best practice of doing a combination of both.
It is. And I'll be honest, I think today, more so than ever, is if you're doing video, the video can be transcribed, automated. You can use the transcription. You put it into ChatGPT. ChatGPT will turn it into steps for you. So more and more of these things are becoming easier and easier to do. But it goes back to the first part. You really have to understand the mindset and the thought pattern of how you create these documents. Otherwise, it becomes messy.
Correct.
You have to be able to see the end and work backwards and understand how the pieces fit together. And I think a lot of people struggle with that, is seeing the full thing, and they're not succinct and sharp in being able to do it. And that's a skill in itself, being able to explain things in the simplistic of terms.
Right. I mean, that is really the value because, otherwise we'll use AI. But as I tell clients, we're not order takers. We're not just show me how you do this and then we transcribe the software, because we have automatic tools that do that. The value is really in understanding exactly what you said, understanding and simplifying the flow. Where does it start? Where does it end? How everything that goes through the flow changes throughout, what people do with it, how they react to it, what should they do. And that's why it's always challenging what are best practices, how to do it better, how we can automate it, what things can be taken out so it is more efficient. So there are different things that you look in process improvement that are very important. Like I always look for those things that, why are you doing it like that? Because this is the way it's always been done. So this is the way it's always been done is very important and very key to find, because those are the things that are usually stagnant, has been there for a long time, not relevant anymore, and can become a problem.
So how do you recommend people update their systems?
We have a process for that as well, of course. And it is that you have to have periodic reviews, and we have a checklist for it, that we create periodic reviews where you go through all your processes, review them, change what needs to be changed, check the links, check that the same landing page still works, whatever you have written in your procedure, make sure that nothing changed, that it's not obsolete. So you go through the checklist and then you change it accordingly so it does stay current.
And I agree with that. And what I would tell people is, as somebody's going through it, if something doesn't work, they should immediately document that, because then that becomes your change order immediately. And I didn't mention this earlier. With regards to videos, honestly, iPhones and screen capture like Loom or something, do not go out and buy fancy stuff to do this. I don't think you really need it. Simple, basic ways of doing this are all that you need. And this goes for, I think, everything. Like I know people in the trades. We have a lot of clients in the trades. Even in the trades, it's important. Hey, this is the way we do X in the particular way. This is the way we string our decks. This is the way we pour our cement. This is the way we lay out our shingles and our designs. Or here's how we handle this type of a corner or something. And so it really doesn't matter what type of business you're in, whether it's a restaurant, a trade. You could use this in a dentist office, right? For how you do processes.
Well, we've done many dental offices. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I mean, the pitfall here is that you can record videos after videos, but if you don't label them correctly and you don't have some kind of wording attached to it, then you just have a bunch of videos and you can never find it. I mean, I know internally we can have the same, we record videos and then where is it? So it's very important that we immediately label it, we immediately put it in the right folder, and of course, we put it in our process documentation software. So it will be step by step so people can refer to it if they want to, at least organize it in such a way that if you want to, let's say you record videos of how to strip a deck, it's under the procedure stripping a deck. So it's not, so you know how to separate it from other things.
Do you have a favorite system or systems that you use to organize and capture all of this?
I do, and I use several of them, and I can recommend Sweet Process, usewell.io, Trenial, several systems that we like.
Okay. Does each one have a specific industry or plus or minus to it? Or
yeah, they all are. I mean, they do. Not they all are, but they do. And we know those very well. And then we can recommend to a client according to the type of industry, type of business, size, what they're looking for, what they need. So we can recommend what works and what doesn't.
And some of these should also be mobile friendly, because if you've got people out in the field doing roofing work, then you know what? They need to be able to do it on their phone.
All of them are mobile friendly, and they also use QR codes. So you can, let's say in the warehouse, you can put a QR code on a checklist or on a policy that you want people to scan and see. So yes.
Nice. Okay. So you've well, with all these years doing it, you know how to do it right. What are the biggest issues that you see people bump up against as you're trying to help them?
You can encounter employees from time to time that are resistive to give the knowledge because they feel threatened. So we all encounter that. We know how to overcome that. We know how to get buy-in, but that could be an issue. Another issue is people feel like they don't have time, but we discussed that already. It's not that you don't have time. It might not be a priority, but there is where we have to define what the final product is going to be and how is it actually going to help. So then people will be enthusiastic or willing to embark on the project. Lack of persistence. So when they work by themselves, they go very enthusiastic about doing it for 2 or 3 weeks and then forget it. There are other things that they need to do and it's somewhere on the to-do list and you don't come back to it. So those are the main obstacles.
And I've got to believe, and I think this is the issue with a lot of owners, if you've got this systematized, it's easier to replace people and there's less emotion tied to so-and-so is going to leave or how do I deal with this? You've got a good system in place to onboard the next person. I think it just makes those choices easier to deal with.
Absolutely. It's easier to deal with and it's also less costly. It's more cost effective. And as a business owner, you're not being held hostage. You will keep the good people because that it's also on the other part of it, on the other end, flip the coin on that, is that you can also maintain people that are productive because if they follow the process will work and you will be able to have more production and you will be able to see that. So then you're going to retain your good people with having systems in place.
So overall, it helps to grow profit, which is what we're all about. And it increases business value, as we talked about, because your business becomes more sellable. And it takes the stress away because you're not the answer to every problem. You're not putting out fires every minute of every day. What else should we cover that we haven't gotten to yet?
The followed by all. We have to make sure that those processes are being followed by all. I touched upon it. I have like a whole workshop that I do that takes 2.5 hours to or it can also take the whole day. I mean, I can expand and contract as much as we need to, but you gotta make sure that your processes are being followed by all. There is no point in documenting unless you're actually going to roll it out and make sure that everyone follows the process.
And that's the key. People have to do it. Not always easy. I gotta believe, though, a lot of this comes down to culture.
It is. We are building a process-driven culture, and it starts with the process-driven leaders, and it starts with their mindset. Not the mindset, oh, it's difficult, or I'm not a process person, or I don't like it. Okay, maybe you cannot write the processes yourself, and you probably shouldn't if you're the visionary, but have the mindset that it is important, that it is going to have a great effect on your business, and that the impact is so important that you gotta support it.
Where do you see most people fumble in the process?
understanding the flows, how the sequence, how it goes from one step to another, what is too much and what is too little in documentation, where do I stop, where do I start.
And I find some owners get way too much in the weeds in the documentation.
I agree with that. I've seen it.
They make it overkill. Yeah. Too difficult to understand, too difficult to follow. These things have to be simple and easy to follow. I always talk about McDonald's because it is a systematized business, from the way they figure out where a site goes to how they build it to how the people work in it. And pretty much they can get anybody to do it, which is impressive, right? In that they can fill their roles rather easily because they've documented every part of it well.
Yes.
Are there other issues we should cover, or did we kind of get most of them out?
I think we got most of it out. I mean, you're a great interviewer, asking all the right questions, and I think we got a very good understanding of processes.
And that's the key. And again, I think owners need to understand that, and the same is true for me. There are certain things I'm really good at, and there's certain things that I hate doing, even if I'm good at them. And so it's learning to say, do I really want to do this? Or more so, the latest book is Who, Not How. It's not learning how to do everything. It's, hey, who can handle this for me? And hand them the simple thing and let them go do it, because at least then it will get done and it won't be a headache on your part. And that's the key at the end of the day, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. If people would like to learn more about you and your company, what's the best way for them to do that?
So LinkedIn is a great way. Adi Klevit, AdikleVit. Look me up there. I mean, I have a lot of content. You can reach out. And also, you can text or call 503-662-2911. And lastly, our website, bizsuccesscg.com, has a lot of information there.
Awesome. And we'll make sure to put that in the show notes. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Rocky, for interviewing me and having me here.
Have a wonderful day.
You too.
I was just on Addie's show, Systems Simplified podcast. Check it out. Where do you need a system? Where can you start to get stuff off your plate and make your business easier? Do you need help and want someone to build it for you? What I have found is I need to think before I delegate, because the first step is to eliminate stuff that doesn't need to be done. I found out Elon Musk thinks the same exact way I do. Not only do we agree on systems and automation and making it simpler, he doesn't like to spend money. He really likes to cut costs and make things super efficient. Man after my own heart. The reality is you don't need more resources. You need to be more resourceful and systematize. Remember to focus on the bottom line.
If you'd like for us to be a part of your profitability journey, we have different programs available ranging from do-it-yourself to one-on-one coaching. Our course, The Profit Blueprint, teaches you everything you need to know to transform your profitability. There are 3 different tiers ranging from DIY to done with you so that businesses of all sizes can get the support that's best. Join the waitlist in the show notes to get more information and be a part of the next cohort. If you want a done-for-you service, you can hire us as your Chief Profitability Officers. We only work with a handful of clients, so they all get our full attention. We work with business owners who have or are growing to $500,000 to $10 million in revenue. You can use the scheduling link in the show notes to get on our calendar for a good fit conversation to see if we're the right people to support you and how we can help you.
Remember to check out my other podcast, Richer Soul, where we talk about how to live the ultimate life and be the best business owner you can be. As we close out, let's repeat the mantra. Revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, and cash is king. Have an abundant and profitable week.